Welcome, everybody. My name is Sandy Scheinbaum, and I'm so happy to be here with you tonight. I'm the CEO of Functional Medicine Coaching Academy, and I'm here with my co-founder, Elyse Wagner, and we started this program together. It seems like ages ago, but it wasn't that long ago at my kitchen table. We were always dreamers and inspired to dream big. And we are so grateful that we are here with you as potential members of our growing community. And that community includes the whole Institute for Functional Medicine community. And we hope to share a little bit about FMCA with you tonight and, of course, answer your questions. So let's dig right in.
All right. Hi, everyone. Elyse here. Just so you know, I have the questions all in front of me. So I just want to welcome all of you, near or far, wherever you are, if you're listening now or later, because there will be a recording. So if you can't sit through the whole thing, no worries. You will get this in your inbox later. I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us tonight. And thank you for submitting your questions. So I have all of your questions here, and I'll be reading those. So if you see me kind of looking on both screens, that is what I'm doing. So the first question comes from Willie, and Willie is asking about, are there internships options or is there a job bank of sorts with the program?
Yes, so we have both of those options. So a job bank, let me address that first. We have a director of alumni development, and one of her roles is to help people find matches. And we have a lot of doctors who are coming to us and say, hey, I want to hire one of your graduates. And Patty works with them to see how they can post an announcement on our job board and connect you. We also often do that informally. Someone will come up to me at a conference, hey, I live in North Carolina. Do we have any coaches there? And so then we will help make that match. I'm personally kind of a matchmaker. I once fixed up my cousin with my best friend, and I love to make those matches. I love to connect people, practitioners with coaches, as well as if somebody has a specialty, we connect it with them with a doctor who has that specialty, even if that doctor isn't particularly looking to hire someone right now. Regarding internships, so we are not a degree program and we don't have a formal internship. However, we do have opportunities where people can volunteer and they can, we've had over the years so many creative initiatives that people have started. They've gone into doctors' offices in their community, into clinics, into hospitals, into many different organizations. And they have created those internships and we have supported them.
Yeah, absolutely. And Andrea asks, what are the prerequisites for the course?
Okay, sure. So prerequisite is your passion. You're really sensing that you want to be a listener, that you can convey hope to somebody, that you want to be that personal cheerleader on somebody's journey towards getting well and overcoming perhaps a chronic condition. We have no formal prerequisites, such as having to have a bachelor's degree or having to have a prior experience in healthcare. In fact, some of the best coaches have no background in healthcare whatsoever. They're career changers. So if you are passionate, we suggest that you apply. If you feel like this is this is where you want to be. This is what inspires you. That would be the prerequisite.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'll just add to that, if you have any questions whatsoever about if you would do well in the program or that you are a career changer. And I will tell you, we have many, many career changers that have graduated from this program, that are currently in this program, that are enrolled for our March 1st start of the next program. And we have people with backgrounds who are teachers, who are yoga instructors, who are chefs, who are farmers, who are have worked in the banking or accounting industries, marketing. And like Sandy said, that one string that pulls everyone together is this passion to serve and to really help others transform their health. So just to let you know, you can email admissions at functionalmedicinecoaching.org. If you have any questions, again, it's admissions at functionalmedicinecoaching.org. And you can also set up a call to talk with one of our admissions team members if you would like some more information. All right, so Lisha asks, my background is in education, so is Sandy's. She can talk a little bit about that. Yet I have been involved in healthcare as the primary researcher of my son's chronic inflammatory illness. What additional training would be needed for me to become a health coach?
So going through our program and getting a certificate, and then if you wanted to go on to become a board certified health and wellness coach, we are approved by the International Consortium for Health and Wellness Coaching. So if you chose to become board certified, you could sit for their exam. But as far as any other training, it sounds like you love learning and you were inspired to learn more because you are committed to helping your son. And we have a lot of students who tell that story as well. In fact, just today, I was messaging somebody because of a condition that her son has. She's very involved with helping other parents, and I'm connecting her to a doctor that I know who happens to specialize in that condition to say, hey, we have a coach who wants to lead groups for parents and wants to she's here to accept referrals from you if you have patients. So yes, absolutely. It sounds like you are inspired. And that's a typical story, whether somebody has a loved one who has a chronic condition or they themselves. Another person who comes to mind is one of our students from India. She had a daughter who had very severe eczema, and nothing was helping. Nothing in the traditional medical world helped. And she on her own found functional medicine. Her daughter got better, and now she's trained to become a health coach and is doing incredible things in India.
She is, and actually that is a great point. You can read her story. You can actually go to the website. This is for anyone and everyone. You can come to our website, functionalmedicinecoaching.org. You can download our book. It is a plethora of stories from our graduates and students with similar but very different. Again, it's tying in the same kind of concepts here. So just to give you some more inspiration and also feel that you really truly will have a community at FMCA. So Gloria, thank you. She asks, where will I be qualified to work?
Okay, well, I would ask you, where would you like to work? So you can certainly start your own business as a health coach. Many of our students wish to do that. You can look at doctors in your community, nutritionists in your community, partner with them. You can, because we teach you how to work in a virtual model, you can find somebody anywhere in the world to get referrals or work with them. So more and more doctors are finding the need to work with health coaches. There's another area that I think is going to grow. It's very exciting, and we are pleased to be partnering with some people who are building functional medicine corporate wellness programs. And so you would be qualified to go out to businesses, large or small, and work in that arena. And I think that's an area that is growing and is very exciting.
And let's see, Lisa asks, how much time does the program take to complete and how long is it?
Sure. So it's 12 months. The actual content, there's about 200 hours. But as far as how you personally will complete it, that would be up to you. We do have live meetings like this over Zoom that are required. You meet in small groups, and you get to choose when you enroll what day and time would work best for you. So there are a lot of those groups, and you look to say, okay, let's see, Tuesday morning at 10, my time zone, that works for me. So I'll sign up to be in that group. But other than that, and so a few assignments that we would require you to submit, and they're nothing like the old high school, college assignments. Usually they're group projects, but for all of this, we're very flexible because we realize you're all adults and you have lives outside of FMCA, and we want you to be able to balance those. So you have the content for 1 year after graduation. So if you missed a webinar or a talk, you can go back and have access to that. So you choose your own schedule. Some people like to block out 1 or 2 days, and others like to do a little bit every day. Listen to stuff on the car, for example, while you're doing chores.
Yeah, or taking a walk or exercising. And again, Lisa or anyone else, if you have questions on how you might make the program fit into your lifestyle, please, we encourage you to set up a call with one of our admissions team members, and they are happy to share their experience and offer you some insight and help you to paint a picture for what that will look like for you too. Okay, so Renee asks, how lucrative are health coaching positions specifically in the state of Florida? I understand that this position can be utilized in other fields, such as working with seniors in a residential environment. Could you give other examples of where health coaching experience could be used besides the medical field, if any?
Sure. So how creative are you in thinking outside the box, focusing on where you want to work, where you want to be? So yes, there are jobs that are possibly working in a traditional medical setting, but I would say that if you, we don't promise, and we're not out there saying, hey, you're going to be making 6 figures, and a local nursing facility is probably not going to pay you that kind of money. But if you're focused on success and you have a big dream, then how do you want to go big? And so one of the things that I love to do, I have office hours. If somebody comes to me and they're looking, well, gee, I have this idea about a book or a blog or developing an online program, then we brainstorm. We help you develop that. So if you want to establish an online presence, if you want to say, okay, rather than like when I was a psychologist, for example, I had a little office and would see my patients in that office, but you can only earn so much if you are one individual seeing one person. And that's why many people, a lot of doctors, are establishing telemedicine. They're having online programs. You can reach more, you can influence more. So if you are focusing on, I want to do something that is going to reach more people, I'm going to make a real impact, and maybe it'll be lucrative as well, then I would encourage you to go the route of, well, can I write a book? Can I write a blog and then turn that into an ebook and do lectures in the community? There are many ways to expand your presence. And then there's also the more traditional way where you can have clients and you can find doctors. For example, I know personally some functional medicine doctors who are in Florida who would welcome having coaches to refer to come into their office, for example. So lots of different ways. Again, there's no cookie cutter, one size fits all approach. Functional medicine is personalized, not one size fits all medicine. And coaching, what you want to do as a coach, is highly personalized. If you survey our graduates, everyone's doing something different.
Yeah, and I would just add on to that, everyone's doing something different, and they're also bringing in different strands of different passions that they have. So it looks a lot of different ways, and we really do help to support them, our students and graduates, and provide a personalized approach. Judy asks, what makes your graduates credible in the community?
Oh, I love that. So we are so proud that we are the only health coaching program that is partnering in collaboration with the Institute for Functional Medicine. So they're the gold standard for training physicians in this really wonderful cutting edge approach that is rapidly expanding and exploding. Functional medicine, their conferences sell out. There are doctors who are going in droves to learn the functional medicine way. And what you get then is the same language. So you're taught by the same faculty that they are taught by. And therefore, you can go to someone and say, hey, I know how to do the functional medicine. I have the toolkit from functional medicine. So therefore, you speak the same language. And we have, when we're at all the IFM events, people come up to us and say, hey, where can I find one of your graduates? I only want to hire FMCA graduates. And so, we're really proud that we do attract what I would say really great people who are dedicated, passionate, bright, love learning.
And Cynthia asks another great question. As a health coach now, would you recommend using particular labs for certain testing? And if so, would availability for clients vary from state to state?
Sure. So we are very strict about teaching you the scope of practice for coaches. And that varies state by state. And we have a lawyer who comes on and does programs for you to really make sure that you understand what you can do as a coach. So your role, part of your role, is to educate and to help your clients become empowered consumers of healthcare. And that may include understanding what's out there with labs. So let me give you an example. So they may be seeing a doctor and the doctor does some testing and it's just the conventional cholesterol panel, and maybe they test TSH and get the results back, and you have a sense that they want to go further and they're asking you. You can educate them, for example, about the growing body of direct-to-consumer labs. And so that would be perfectly within your scope of practice to let them know you're educating them, perhaps telling them, or really inspiring them, coaching them to how to go back and talk to their doctor. Because some people might be really scared to go and get these advanced lab panels on their own. And many can go to their doctor if they feel empowered. So that's part of a coach's role. But what would not be a coach's role would be to actually have a relationship with that lab company, perhaps be an affiliate and get a commission for referring, and even referring at all, to bring up the subject to saying, I'm ordering these labs. I want you to get a full thyroid panel, for example, and cholesterol particle test. That's now you're acting like a doctor. You're practicing medicine without a license. And so that's where we really place a lot of emphasis on teaching you exactly how to stay in the coach lane as opposed to acting as a practitioner. So you can educate, and there's Jeffrey Bland, who is a big advocate of our program, and has said when he gave a talk to our students, talked about that's the secret sauce that coaches have, the ones who really inspire people. People don't need another doctor. They don't need another expert telling them, go take this vitamin or go get this lab. They want somebody who is going to be helping them, inspired to have passion and purpose in their lives so that they can follow these health recommendations.
So along the same lines, Jill asks, do health coaches generally work on their own or alongside functional medicine doctors?
Can work both ways. So we teach a model where we love to see people working with doctors. So why is that? Because coaches have a role on a collaborative care team. And increasingly at IFM, they're being taught that you're starting a new functional medicine practice. Don't do it alone. Get a coach. And Tom O'Brien calls coaches the boots on the ground. And so does James Maskell, says they are the most important part of the functional medicine ecosystem. So from the get-go. If you want to be successful as a functional medicine doctor, you have a coach. And so that is a great model. And then many people are just entrepreneurs by nature. And they are excited and passionate about going out and making connections and establishing a presence, whether it's first on social media, running virtual groups, and they have lots of ideas in how to attract clients and how to work and make coaching a thriving business.
So, and I would just add to that, Jill, and everyone else listening, that it really comes back down to what you would like to do. How do you want to serve your community? What really lights you up? Although that, you probably want to be working with other people and helping them transform their health, but in what ways? And we encourage you to bring in your creativity and utilize your strengths so that you can serve in the most effective and efficient way for you. And we help you to develop that vision a little bit more in the program. So, okay, on to the next question. Michelle asks, I'm going to break this one up. It's a little bit of a long one.
Okay.
So would you please address the legal aspects of functional medicine coaching? Specifically, where does functional medicine coaching stop versus an MD of functional medicine? And
sure.
Yeah. Okay. I'll stop there. And we'll go on to the next one in a second.
Okay. So coaching has been defined as inspiring passion and purpose in others. It's helping someone get from where they are to where they want to be. So it involves asking questions. For example, a wonderful question to lead with might be, what do you want your health for? What gives you joy? What inspires you? What do you want to live for? And coaches ask those questions. A coach is focused on who is with them completely. It's like a dance, and the client is the lead. The coach is following. That's very different from a model of the practitioner. So what's their role? They have to find out what's wrong with a person. They make a diagnosis. And they might say, okay, you have mold, you have syndrome, you have Lyme disease. They have some lab tests, and they have maybe a physical exam, and okay, here's your diagnosis, or multiple ones. And then how are we going to treat it? How are we going to address it? And from functional medicine perspectives, that is not just, okay, a pill for every ill. That's very different. They're not against drugs or surgery, but they may say, we're going to start with simple diet, lifestyle change, getting you better sleep, addressing the relationships in your life. And where does the coach come in? The coach is the one who is going to say to that individual, okay, now you've seen Dr. O'Brien, and this is what has been laid out for you. Where would you like to start? What are your thoughts? And first of all, do you have any questions? Where would you like to begin? And how can I help you? How can I support you? How do you want to be held accountable? And so it's really finding out what that individual's goals are, and through those sessions, determining how they're going to overcome any obstacles that come up. So that is the difference, and it is a crucial difference. So doctors are not trained in what we train our coaches in. They are, and I'm not talking about necessarily nutrition, because yes, they're not trained in that. They get like 10 minutes in medical school. But really, it's not a matter of knowledge, of knowing all the, figuring out micronutrient deficiencies, for example. It's about finding somebody's strengths, helping them identify their strengths, focusing on what's right with them, and really having this experience of being heard. And that's the essence of coaching, and that is all the difference. And doctors are wanting to learn this in the therapeutic encounter so they can be better at being a doctor, better communicating with their patients. And we have a lot of doctors going through our program wanting to learn these coaching skills. So I hope that answered your question.
And so another part of the question is, can you define the limits of functional medicine coaching from a legal aspect? What resources are there to help us in our specific location to navigate the legality? And basically, she wants to know, how do I find out what I can and cannot do?
Okay. So you can't diagnose or treat a medical or psychiatric condition. So you can't tell somebody you have metabolic syndrome. You have, I'm looking at your lab work, and so I'm going to say that you have type 2 diabetes, you have depression. You can't do that because you don't have a license. And so that's across every state. And then states vary. Some states do have, are saying it's okay, coaches can order labs, for example. And these change all the time. So depending on what state you are in, you would get those requirements. You could find that out. And it's often difficult to do that. Like, who do I call? How do I find that information? Because coaches are not licensed by the state. So I used to be a psychologist. I had a license, and it was a piece of paper. Yes, back then they actually had paper, and it was state of Illinois granted me that license to practice as a clinical psychologist. So there was a clearly defined scope of practice. Coaches are still this gray area. What do we recommend? We recommend that you always practice as if you are in a so-called red state, and that is one that would be very strict guidelines, that you are not acting as a nutritionist, you're not looking at ordering lab tests and determining, writing out a food plan for somebody and saying, I want you to adhere to this. That would be acting outside of your scope. So it is doing your due diligence when you, one of the things that we do is work with you and help you find resources to find that out within your state. Usually it's through other coaches, and because we are part of AQuick, the International Consortium for Health and Wellness Coaching, they are a wonderful resource. They have a code of ethics that we strictly adhere to regarding scope of practice.
So Amy, I hope that answers some of your questions. If you have more questions, and you might, because oftentimes one question leads to another question, I really encourage you and anyone else to schedule a call with one of our admissions team members. We can certainly address these questions and more in depth and more personalized to your specific situation. So you can, again, just email us at admissions@functionalmedicinecoaching.org. So we are going to move on to the next question.
Okay.
So Megan asks, what type of jobs are available after we get certified? Will this be a recognized certification if you don't have a medical background? And we kind of touched on this about helping with job placement. Is there any help with that?
Yes, so absolutely. We help with job placement. We have an alumni association, alumni membership program where you have mentoring by someone experienced in how to get out there and grow your practice. And this is really a new field, a new but emerging field. So if you think it's the kind of field where it's pretty much defined. So for example, my major in college was elementary education. Then I went on and got a master's in learning disabilities. So that was pretty defined. In other words, what am I going to do with that? I could get a job as a teacher in a school district. And so there was protocol. It was pretty defined. And then as I went on in my education, it increased. There were more opportunities because, well, now I'm in learning disabilities and I could do private tutoring, which I ended up doing. So I started my own little practice as a private tutor for kids with learning disabilities. And then as a psychologist, it grew and I could run groups. So I would ask you, what do you want to do? Do you like to work one-on-one with somebody? Do you like to work with groups? Do you have a teaching background? Do you want to teach? There's a growing need for people to lead groups. And doctors can have run group medical visits, and coaches can run those visits. In fact, that's even being reimbursed through Medicare with certain rules applying for that. But that's an exciting model. And so it really depends on you. Where do you see yourself? And one of the first assignments we have is imagine it's a reunion, and where are you now that you're a functional medicine certified health coach? And you asked about who accepts this. Well, number one, functional medicine doctors increasingly are learning about us and want to hire us. And then on a broader level, so we grant a certificate of completion. And then the gold standard is to become board certified. And that's a similar process if you're an MD and you might become board certified in cardiology, for example. So you could become board certified in health and wellness coaching, and our school is approved so that you can sit for that exam. That's run by the National Board of Medical Examiners through AQuick. So I hope I answered that.
Yeah, and I think along the same lines, Joni asks, what different career paths have your graduates taken? And we can certainly give some third-party stories. There's a lot of different career paths and really fun things that people are doing. And thinking about, Jason comes to mind about what he's doing.
Yes. Someone was a high school teacher. He developed a whole curriculum on functional medicine for his high school students. We have people who have gone out into the community and they've given talks. It's often a great way to start. And we have a consultant who works with our community in helping them to overcome fear of speaking, to give a talk. It's becoming easier and easier to write a book. And we have a program about how to do that, if that's something that would inspire you, how to work with groups. And then what population? Do you want to work with children? Do you want to work with parents? Do you want to work with people with cognitive decline? We have a specialty course that we developed with Dr. Dale Bredesen that just opened that is available where you can specialize. And we are partnering with Dr. Bredesen's group because he really supports the idea of having coaches work with these clients and their caregivers. In fact, he came to us with that proposal that we develop a course with him. So there's a big need in that area as well.
Yeah, and Joni, I would just say if you have other questions around that, we're happy to expand that idea and that conversation with you. And certainly if there is something specific that you're looking for, we have a ton of graduates who volunteer to speak with prospective students as well. And maybe we can match you with someone who's doing something that you would like to do.
Yeah, and I would say look inside and just say, where did you come from? And usually going back to, what inspires you? Often it's your own health journey, someone in your family, or you look at what you did previously. We had somebody who is specializing in working with attorneys. She came to us, she was an attorney, and now she's going out to law firms and she's health coaching there because she knows that world. And so that's often a nice transition.
Yeah, and I just have to add for all the creatives out there, and I just spoke with actually a student who just now enrolled a couple days ago. And Sandy, I didn't even get a chance to tell you this yet. This woman she already has a plan for what she's going to be doing after she graduates the program, and it's obviously it's filled with passion. And what she's going to be doing is she's going to turn over she has a van or some sort of almost not a food truck, but some sort of a truck. And she is going to be going to, maybe some less fortunate areas and providing vegetables and almost like a kind of like a co-op. She's going to
Oh, I love
work with
that.
people in her community who are going to donate produce, and she's going to take it to hospitals or to people who are less fortunate. And that is one of the ways that she's going to give back, along with some coaching as well, so that she can give back in this way. And I just thought,
Wow.
what a very cool way. And I haven't heard of anyone doing that. So I encourage you all to get creative and yes. And so Show Ray, I hope I'm saying that correctly. Your question is, do I have to be a doctor, an MD, or nurse to take these classes in functional medicine? If I have a degree in biology or biochemistry, will that be enough? It will be enough as long as you have a passion to serve. And yes, absolutely. You're enough.
Yes, there's no requirement for any previous training in healthcare. Sometimes that gets in the way. Sometimes people who are doctors struggle to shift to the coach approach because they want to say, here's the diet plan, just do it. And they're so used to being the experts, to reporting the results and developing the treatment plan, that it's a little difficult shifting to being client-centered.
So Sandy asks, wondering if we learn how to read blood tests and learn different testing to assess what might be going on, or to educate in different areas of the physical body.
So we have some lectures on labs. We focus on it, but it is not a program where you will become the expert in labs, because that is too tempting to shift to being the practitioner, to ordering and interpreting those labs for an individual. So what you will know is how to educate. In other words, you can tell a client, this test measures this, this, and this. And this is, why your doctor ordered that. If a client is confused, why is my doctor ordering all of this? So you could explain that and then follow up with a good question like, does that make sense to you? But what you would not be doing is saying, this, according to this test, you are low in vitamin D. That would be interpreting, and that's what a doctor does. And so that would be outside of your scope of practice. So the course really prepares you to be the best possible coach. And part of that is really learning labs. But I have to be honest, we have Google, and we have incredible search engines, and we have, Alexa out there would answer any question. So the role of education is shifting. It's not lecture so much and learning the facts, learning here's the lab test and this is what they measure, because you can look it up. Anybody can go out there and find that information. But what do we prepare you to do? How to really listen to somebody, how to sit with somebody and really sense what they need. And if what they need is information about lab tests, then together, the two of you are the detectives. You help that client to sort it out if they're feeling confused about labs.
Well,
and I also want to add that we are in line with medical education. So I went to a conference at Stanford a couple of years ago on the future of medical school education, and that's where they're going. They are getting away, because students today entering, they're used to having access to information on their computer. They don't even go to lecture classes anymore, because it's not about learning facts. It's about having the experience and really being able to use that information.
Yes, and I couldn't agree more. And I would just add on that, we have the what. The what is all over the place. We can find that out. And you as coaches are that how and that why piece, and really working with the clients to identify their why and that inspiration to move them forward. And you're holding their hand as they are working on the how piece. So making those lifestyle changes that can sometimes be tough and need some accountability and some support. And that is such a huge, huge role that you get to fill. So Eileen asks, how many of your grads have taken the AQuick certification exam?
So we've have about we'll be at about 1,200 grads with our
Mhm.
current class, and I'm afraid to say I do not know the percentages because I'm not a numbers person and I forget numbers as soon as I hear them. But I do want to say that of each graduating class, we have a sizable percentage who are taking that exam. In fact, we did hear that we are like one of the our school has one of the highest number of applicants to sit for the exam.
Yeah, and Eileen, I would just say if you would like to know that number specifically, you can reach out to admissions, or we can give you that
We'll get it for
information
you.
and be transparent with you. Yeah, but thank you for asking. Lizzie, is it hard to find a full-time coaching job that offers benefits? And are there online companies you can recommend? What's the average salary?
Sure. So I think if that's the route you want to go with benefits, then the corporate arena might be well suited. We have somebody who is building out specialty courses who will be talking about that at our live summit, and going into more of the corporate wellness might be a possibility, as well as getting that board certification from AQuick so that you might want to work in a hospital system or a larger clinic, a larger physician's clinic that may offer those benefits. So that would be the way to go with that. And that's something as well that if that's your objective, we can work with you individually on that and guide you in how to make that happen. And starting from the time you're a student to start to research that. So.
And can we talk a little bit about
Actually, I
the
want to say
average
one other
salary?
thing. There's some new programs that are coming on where actually they're like cost sharing type programs for healthcare, and a lot of people in the health and wellness space and functional medicine are going that route as well.
And then average salary ranges.
Yeah. So that is all over the place. It does depend on what region you're in. So your salary, if you were in New York, would be higher than you are out in a rural community. So generally, the it would be we look at from an hourly rate, and as somebody is first starting out and is willing to take more of an apprentice position, it might be lower. It might be $30 an hour, and then it can go up. We have coaches who are in private, have their own private business, who are charging 100, 150. A nice way to build that up is to lead groups. So we help people develop pitches or proposals if they're going into a doctor's office, talking about how they can organize group visits for that doctor. And that would be where you can see more people, and it's easier for a person to pay, and then you would get paid as well a little bit more. But I would say it's comparable to what a personal trainer might be earning, for example, would be a good place to look.
So Rachel asks, as a registered nurse seeking a role in primary care, will this be a benefit for me? I'm interested in learning more about gut dysbiosis, deficiency in diet, and how it relates to chronic disease. Will this course teach me current data?
Yes, we'll teach you the functional medicine data, and we have a lot of nurses. In fact, our director of coaching development, Monique Class, is a nurse herself, and she teaches a lot of the content, and it's a great match to have a nursing background added to what you're already doing. And a lot of hospital systems increasingly are going to want coaches.
And we have a lot of nurses already in the program or who have graduated. So if you'd like to potentially speak to one of them or just hear more about that, you're always welcome to reach out to us at admissions. And then Christy asks, I'm thinking about a career in functional medicine. What are the next steps? I would ask you, would you like to go into coaching? And if so, we're happy to chat with you further via an admissions call. I'm happy to chat with you as well. You can reach out to me specifically and ask for me. We can set up a time to chat in the next week or so. Again, it's admissions@functionalmedicinecoaching.org. But Sandy, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, so we, during that call with Elyse, we'd talk about, is this right? Do you want to go the coaching route? Some people are already practitioners. So if you are a practitioner, then it might be, you might be better suited to go through the Institute for Functional Medicine's course for, I would say that course is geared for doctors, for medical doctors, and people who know that they want to stay as practitioners.
So I welcome you to take a phone call with me and anyone else on the webinar. Happy to speak with you all. And Ashit, I think that you are enrolled. So if you're listening, welcome. And we're happy to have you on the program. Ashit asks, I'm keen to understand what you know about health coaching in Asia, and if there are trends you could share. I'm considering changing my career path this year and want to understand the market a little bit more.
So yeah, so we have some initiatives going on in Southeast Asia with a group over there, and we have some students who have accomplished just remarkable things. It gives me chills when I hear how passionate they are. It's often the only person starting out in their country, and now they're starting to teach about this functional medicine approach. And they are inspiring doctors to start to study with IFM. And then they are setting up clinics together. They are just going out into rural areas. They are partnering. They are inspiring other people to train to be functional medicine coaches. And so they're now then just getting together and joining forces to have a huge impact. So I think there is growing demand, and I do know that IFM is very interested, and they've had their initial training course that was in Asia. They've gone to several different countries, Philippines, China, and so they have some big global initiatives. So I welcome you, and I am here to support you and see you grow and thrive in Asia.
And Nina asks, as a potential health coach, how does one navigate the vastness of conflicting information out there? One minute you're hearing something about oil pulling and how this oil is good for you, and how the next day it's a different oil. Does the course teach a form of ultimate truth? And why get taught something now which might no longer be relevant a year or two from now?
Sure. So it's constantly evolving. So how do we deal with that? Well, it's often important to start by acknowledging your feelings of confusion, and that's what your clients will come to you with. I remember somebody when I was leading some wellness classes, and I had somebody, and we would talk about, his doctor had recommended, no gluten, no grains. And then he'd say, but he would bring in the ARP news. But Dr. Sandy, here, ARP newsletter, the Association for Retired People, it says right here, and I've underlined it, eat whole grains. So there, now I'm confused. What do I do? You're saying, one thing, the ARP is saying it did, the doctor's saying different. Lately, I actually had a friend who texted me, well, what do you think that they just came out with this huge study? Coconut oil is bad for you. It's going to kill you. And first it was bad, then it was good. Now it's bad again. It's up and down. So what do we do? Well, use the coach approach. You sit with that individual and acknowledge the confusion, and also to give up rigidity. So there would be nothing worse than a coach who thinks it's my way or the highway. I'm a vegan, I'm paleo, I'm ketogenic, and this is it. This is the law. So it's that flexibility in thinking, realizing that, there might be a new study, but we follow IFM, and they are looking at the state of the science right now, acknowledging that it's different. It may change. And so sometimes then staying with this, there's a sweet spot. I'm, for example, I'm someone, if 10 minutes is good, you got to do 20 minutes. You got to be full out. And many people are like that. If kale is good, you have to eat a pound of kale a day. And what would happen is then that leads to issues. So therefore, as a coach, you'd want to look at somebody can shift more towards moderation. Like, how do I accept that? Yeah, it's unless you have celiac, like 100% of the time, absolutely no exception. Well, maybe that's not so realistic for this person's life. And so that's the key, really. Balance, accepting confusion, and also staying with that client. So in other words, you might have read the latest research study that quinoa is toxic. And yet you have a client and they are saying, yeah, I just started making this wonderful quinoa salad and I was so proud of myself. And wow, I'm really doing great, coach. And you don't want to burst their bubbles. You don't want to say, well, wait a minute, it's not so good for you. So I hope I've addressed that.
Yeah, and Nina, if you need any more support around that, we can certainly chat about that. I'm happy to have a conversation with you. But great question. So thank you for bringing that up. So Joey asks, what experts or resources do you have to teach aspiring health coaches how to market themselves as a functional medicine expert and grow their practice online?
Okay, so we have sections of the course that are devoted to the business of coaching, growing a practice, starting from scratch. How do you do that? And so they've come on and they give talks. We have people who do Q&As, and then we have mentoring and that's some people who choose to stay on after you graduate. We have a membership program where they meet twice a week and they are getting support. But in the core program, we also bring on a lot of experts in this area to help you to build that online presence. And I'm always out there looking for new experts, new people who can come in and help in this area. And in addition, I have to say that Elyse and I also have our own office hours, and those are drop in, ask us anything. And often if you have a business question or you want support, you have an idea you want to throw out and run by us, we'll brainstorm it.
Absolutely. We love supporting our students and our graduates. So T.S. Baker asks, in the state of Florida, where I'd like to create a health coaching personal training business, there are laws in place that prohibit success in this emerging field. I understand the need to protect licensed professionals, i.e. dietitians, nutritionists, but what, if anything, is the Functional Medicine Coaching Academy and or IFM doing to protect the rights of health coaches to practice within the scope throughout all states?
Sure. So by really understanding how scope of practice can be your asset. In other words, what we were talking about earlier, that role being the one who's inspired. Right now it's January and personal trainers are booked up and they're busy and gyms are, and I was at a yoga class, it was mat to mat because everybody's got their resolution and they know by February it'll be emptied out again and just the regulars will be there. Well, why? Why does somebody stop? What obstacles? What are they saying to themselves? And so that role of the coach to really be there with an individual is so much broader. And we often find that coaches or people in our program start out by thinking, well, I'm going to be a coach and I'm going to educate people about how to eat right. And yeah, that's where you'd want to really be cautious about the words you use. You're not going to be saying, this is a food plan that I recommend, but you can partner with a doctor and the doctor recommends, functional medicine doctors can recommend a food plan, and then it's in the client's hands. They have it. You are supporting them. How did you do this week? You said last week that you would be adding some broccoli at lunch. How did that go? I want to hear about it. You're not a nutritionist then. You're partnering with them to help them meet that goal of eating more broccoli. And so, again, according to Jeffrey Bland, that's the secret sauce. that's where coaches are where the rubber meets the road, in his words, because you have that role. Nutritionists are frustrated because they can't get people to stick with a nutrition plan. And so we don't want, besides being outside of the scope of practice, you don't want to be just a nutritionist who is telling them what to eat and what not to eat. So it's very powerful. And I want to say that it's a great combination, personal training and coaching. It's a match made in heaven. And you can coach somebody to stay on that personal training plan.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so many amazing things that you can do with the personal training and the health coaching. And I just have to add that in the course as well, and in the program, with the support of your cohort, your course facilitator, Sandy, the curriculum team, we will make sure to support you, provide you with the information that you need so that you can stay within scope of practice, so that you can ultimately feel confident in what you're doing.
Yeah, we have a great attorney who is very involved in our curriculum to help come on and teach students how to stay safe out there.
So Lisa, real quick to your question, do I need any kind of medical degree to begin the course? No, you do not. Just a passion to serve. Happy to talk with you more about that. If you have more in-depth questions, again, email admissions@functionalmedicinecoaching.org. We've just got a couple more minutes and a couple more questions. Christina asks, I am considering attending an on-site course that ends March 3rd. What does the start of this course look like? Sandy, would you like to share about that?
So the course officially opens March 1st. That means the doors open. We open it a little early for the orientation. By orientation, we mean that you'll be able to, we use Canvas, which is a learning management system. And if you were in college recently, or you have children in college, that's the system that colleges use. So we teach you how to use the system, and there's a big tech support involved with that. So we want to make sure nobody has any issues or is confused by that. But when we start the course, it's up to you. So in the past, we've had people, I have somebody who's in the course who said, I'm going to be on a cruise. She's an older woman, and she was thought she was retired, and then she found us and she went, I want to be a health coach. So, but she said, I'm going to be on a cruise. There's no internet. What can I do? And so, fine, join us, when the cruise docks and you get online again. People find all kinds of creative ways to tune in. And so I don't see any problem in terms of it's not like traditional school, like you mentioned, on site. It's not like you go to class and you have to be there at a certain hour and you have something to do that day.
Yeah, exactly. I just want to emphasize that, because you don't have to be anywhere. You don't even have to be online this March 1st, the start of the course. In the past, we've just had some confusion about that. So like Sandy said, you can start when you're comfortable, but we open up the doors per se on March 1st. So Shauna asks, can you give me examples of how occupational therapists have merged into this health coaching after this program, and where are these therapists working in this role?
Sure. So that would depend whether you want to stay as your current role as an occupational therapist and bring coaching into that. And we have somebody who is very involved in OT, who I'm sure would love to talk with you. And she has actually presented a paper at OT conferences on health coaching. We have other OTs who have transitioned from that role as an OT, and now they're coaching. And so they make that transition. And so they may be working on their own, or they may be working in medical practices, either conventional or functional medicine, bringing in their OT background to be a coach. So it can go either way. And that depends on where you're at and what you want.
And Shauna, I know the person that Sandy's speaking about, or at least one of them, and I know that she is on the volunteer list to speak with prospective students. So if you would like to take advantage of that, please email admissions@functionalmedicinecoaching.org, and we will get that set up for you. Last question, and then I have a couple remarks that I want to say and some things that I want to share with you about tuition. Kristen asks, when graduated from the program, can one work in a physician's office with patients or only via online?
Definitely can work in a physician's office with patients. We have a lot of examples of that. Many of the functional medicine faculty have clinics, and they have our graduates who are working in their practices. And so you could certainly do that, or you can choose to work online. Again, it depends on what you want to do.
So before I turn this back over to Sandy to close out, I just want to share a couple announcements. First and foremost, if you have any other questions that pop up over the next couple weeks or months, please do not hesitate to reach out to admissions@functionalmedicinecoaching.org. You can just shoot us a quick email. You can also go online. There is a spot where you can contact us and schedule a call with us. And when you do go online to our website, functionalmedicinecoaching.org, there is a info packet that you can download that has a ton of information. You can learn all about us. You can also review things like the tuition and the payment plans. And I will touch on tuition just a little bit here. So right now, if those of you who don't know what we have going on right now, excuse me, if you apply now through January 31st, to the program, to the March 1st program, I'll just clarify that, we are gifting you an Apple Series 4 watch. Sandy can speak to it because I know she wears that one and she loves it.
I love it. You test your breathing.
Yeah, so many amazing things. And so all the details and things like that we can share with you, but I do want to let you know that when you enroll to our March class during the month of January, you will be gifted this. And just to let you all know, the tuition for the program is $7,997, and we're happy to share more about the program and more in depth. And again, we encourage you to schedule a call with admissions. I'm happy to speak with you on this, and so are any of our amazing admissions team members who've also gone through the course. So I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to be with us tonight and for your interest in the Functional Medicine Coaching Academy. And Sandy, I'll turn it back to you.
Sure. Well, I just want to say how grateful I am that you took the time out of your busy schedule to be with us tonight. And I love answering your questions. I hope that we did answer your questions. And as we said, please contact us if we did not. But it's just been a pleasure to be here with you. And I want to wish you a wonderful 2019. Still early enough in the year to say that. And hope you will consider joining us. Bye now.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.